CM 365, all about Carnatic music.
In recognition of the talent and excellence achieved by various artists, we see that cultural organizations bestow upon them different kinds of awards and titles. Especially in the field of music, we see that today there are so many cultural organizations which actually bestow different kinds of titles on artists. Sometimes a cash award also is accompanied with the title that they bestow on them. Of course, we also see that today there are various mutts where the mutt actually gives them the title of the Asthana Vidwan also. So like this, we see that titles actually give some kind of a recognition to the artist for his contribution that is made towards the field of art, be it music, dance or drama. Now coming to the field of music, we see that the titles conferred upon luminaries in music is not something actually new, and it has been there from the time of the Ramayana. The duet singers Lava and Kusha were referred to as Gandharva Veda Tattvagya and Swara Sampanna. So this is one of the earliest reference to a title being given to somebody in the recognition of their musical talent that we see is there. After this, we see that various kinds of titles have been bestowed by luminaries like the emperors, then the kings, the maharajas, heads of mutts and other dignitaries actually. And these titles conferred upon them is also done in the Vidvat Parishad, that is some kind of a sadas where we have all the learned people assembled and then they will confer the title on that particular artist. Sometimes we also see that these titles are associated with great composers in recognition of their monumental contribution as composers and also given to musicologists. But then of course many of the titles that we come across, we know that the title was conferred, but there is no proper historical actually details. And so it's really very difficult to say who conferred the award or when it was actually conferred. In music, it's also interesting to see how the names of certain ragas have become the prefix for that particular person actually, because of the fact that he attained so much proficiency in the rendition of that particular raga. And we see that records also show how artists, musicians would actually expound a ragam for hours together. And in this context, we see that some names which come to my mind are like Todi Sitaramayya, Narayana Gola Kuppayar, Shankarabharanam Narasayya, Darbar Sitaramayya, Atana Appayya, Begada Subramanya Iyer. Of course, Patnam Subramanya was known as Begada Subramanya because of the fact that he was able to actually bring about the beauty of Begada in such an expansive manner. So that title was given to him. Similarly, we also have Saveri, Dureswamy Iyer and so on. So all this indicates that they were specialists in that particular ragam. In fact, Todi Sitaramaya, as I said earlier also, is said to have rendered the Todi ragam for 8 days and broken all records. Of course, we do not have any audio material to understand what is the Todi he sang for 8 days, but nevertheless this has come down to us through history that this title was conferred on him. Now there have also been composers, as I said, who have enriched our South Indian music with their very beautiful compositions. So in that sense we see that Paidala Gurumurti Shastri, who was supposed to have authored 1,000 Geetas, is known as the Vei Geeta Paidala Gurumurti Shastri. Also in the domain of Javali, we see that we have Dharmapuri Subbarayar, who was very famous as a Javali composer. So he also came to be known as Javali Subbarayar actually. Now there are various titles associated with important musical figures, and today I thought I will share with you some of these interesting titles to show what area they were proficient in and how they actually got the title. The first among this is Nishanka. This was given to Sri Sarangadeva, the author of Sangeetha Ratnakara. Nishanka means one who has no doubt. So probably in recognition of his versatile and vast knowledge, this was given to him. Then, of course, the next wonderful title given is Chanda Pavala Peruman on Arunagiri Nadar, the author of the Tirupugal. We all know that he was instrumental in creating the concept of chandas through his Tirupugal. One without a parallel in the history of Indian music, we could say, where these chandas actually are a unique kind of rhythm, and never before, never after, we could say that anybody could create something of this kind. So in recognition of this great monumental contribution, he was known as Chanda Pavala Peruman, or the master of this chanda verse. Then we have Talapakam Annamacharya. He was given several titles in recognition of his contribution to the field of music. Like he was known as Dravida Gana Sarvabhauma. He was also known as Padakavita Pitamaha. And of course, the next one who comes in the line is Purandaradasar, who paved the way for the Carnatic music by creating so many fundamental aspects. So that's why we also call him or hail him as Karnataka Sangeetha Pitamaha, or the father of Carnatic music. And we also call him as Adi Guru because of the fact that he was one of the first to systematize the whole system of our Carnatic music and give it a codified kind of a structure. Then we have with us Tana Varna Margadarshi. This title was given to Pachimiriam Adiyapaya. Pachimiriam Adiyapaya, all of us know, was the master composer, and his Viriboni Varnam in the Ragam Bhairavi, Adatala Varnam, is absolutely unparalleled monumental composition. And because of this fact, he was also given the name or title Tana Varna Margadarshi. Then we have Kallinatha, the commentator on Sangeetha Ratnakara, who was given the title Abhinava Bharatacharya. Then Sonti Venkata was known as Gana Vidya Durandara. Margadarshi again was title given to Margadarshi Shesha Iyengar. Tyagarajar got the name Bhuloka Narada, and Gana Chakravarti was the title given to Vena Kuppayar. Another musician, Meru Swami, who lived in the court of Swati Tirunal, he was a musician in the court of Swati Tirunal. He was known as Kokila Kanta, that is one with the cuckoo kind of a voice. Probably he possessed a very sweet voice, and that's why he was known as Kokila Kanta. Then we have the title Shatkala given to a few musicians in recognition of the fact that they could render or sing in 6 degrees of speed. So in this category we have Shatkala Narasayya, Shatkala Govinda Marar, and Shatkala Subbayar. Then we come to the concept of Chaukam. The title of Chaukam was prefixed to Veerabhadraya because he was a specialist in rendition of Chaukam style of singing. Then Ghanam, highly proficient in the Ghanam style of singing. In that we have Ganam Krishnayar, Ganam Chinnayya, Ganam Tirumalayar, and so on. Then Maha, of course, meaning great, was given to the musician Maha Vaidyanatha Iyer in recognition of his outstanding talent. Then we have Sahitya Puli, the name given to Ramaswamy Sivan. Then to many actually this title of Pallavi was added as a prefix in recognition of their proficiency in the art of rendering Ragam Tanam Pallavi. So we have Pallavi Gopala Iyer, Pallavi Duraiswamy Iyer, and Pallavi Seshayar. Then there is also another person who got the title of Rettai Pallavi Sivarama Iyer because he was very adept in rendition of what we call as the Rettai Pallavi. Then Swara Kalanidhi, highly proficient in the singing of Kalpana Swaras. This title was given to Swara Kalanidhi Narayanaswamy Iyer of Tiruvisai Nallur. Then we also have Veena Tantra Visharada, another title given to Haripala Deva, the author of Sangeetha Sudhakara. Then Shatkala Chakravarti was given to Veena Venkatramana Das of Vijayanagaram. Another interesting title, Bhuloka Chapa Chutti. That is one who could actually roll the whole world into a mat. That is what Bhuloka Chapa Chutti means. This was given to Bobli Keshava Ayya. Like this, we see that this kind of recognitions given to the musicians also clearly indicate to us what area they were proficient in. In fact, that was at one time we see that this kind of titles were given in the sense that whatever was their domain or whatever they were actually proficient in, that became the part of their title itself. Of course, today the concept of titles are quite different, where different kinds of names have been coined to give to that awardee. And here we also see that it is not just that that award name belongs to one particular person. Every year we see that the organization bestows this award on somebody, and so that's how the title is given to many multiple people. But here in this case of the titles that we were discussing here, we see that it was very unique in the sense that realizing the specialization aspect of that particular artist, the prefix of that particular area was attached to that person. So that way we also see that these kind of titles are a beautiful recognition, I would say, in terms of the excellence that any artist or every artist attain in a particular domain or field.
CM 365, all about Carnatic music.